right, so we're going to look at each of the 6 kingdoms today and characteristics that you need to know about each one of them. All right. First kingdom is Kingdom Archaebacteria. What we said yesterday, it belongs in one specific domain. It's a domain Archae. So on your chart, you are filling in the boxes under Archaebacteria. All right. All of the organisms in this group are unicellular. What's that mean? One cell. Okay. Very simple organism. Since they are bacteria, they are prokaryotic, which means no nucleus, no organelles. They can be either autotrophic or heterotrophic, depending on the organism. That means some of them can do photosynthesis. Others have to eat other organisms. Okay. They have cell walls like plants, but they lack one specific thing that plants have. That's why we can't put them in the category with plants. They have to have their own category. They do not have this protein called peptidoglycan, right, in their cell wall. What?
What is it made of? Their cell wall.
It varies depending on the organism. We just know that they don't have that component, which keeps them from being a plant, which keeps them from being certain fungi. That's why they have their own kingdom. The main characteristic of these guys is they can live in any environment. There are some species in this kingdom that live in volcanoes. They live there. They can survive there. It's fine for them. So they live in that extreme, that harsh environment. These have been around the longest because they can survive just about anything. All right. So if you get this inside you, do you think it's going to be easy to get out and kill it? No. If it can survive through a volcano or some harsh conditions, it's going to be hard to kill. All right. That's why they've been around for so long. And some examples: halophiles, thermophiles, methanogens. Thermophiles, thermo means temperature. Those are the ones that can live in extremely hot environments. Okay. Methanogens, they use methane as their energy source. I know what methane is?
Gas.
It's a type of gas. All right. It's a type of gas. They use that for their energy source. Very primitive, single-celled organism. All right. Got it? Next kingdom, eubacteria. All right. In this sense, "you" here doesn't mean has a nucleus, has that. It means true. These are the true bacteria. All right. There's a couple examples up here of what they look like. There's different shapes, different sizes, a lot of different things going on here. They're still unicellular. So in those two pictures up there, up here, every rod-shaped thing is one organism. Every sphere in here is one organism. Okay. They're prokaryotic because they're bacteria. They also can be autotrophic or heterotrophic. So far, they're exactly the same as Archaebacteria. All right. What's going to set them apart? Why did we put them in a different kingdom?
Cell wall.
They have a cell wall, and it has that protein, peptidoglycan. All right. It has that protein. We still can't put, plants have cell walls. Why can't we put them with plants? What up here? What things up here keep them out of the plant kingdom? Prokaryotes one. What else? Yeah, plants are multicellular, so we can't put them in that category. So they got to have their own. Some are beneficial, some cause disease. We're going to get into with the second half of this unit when we go into microbiology. We're going to talk about bacteria more and how they are beneficial, they are harmful, depending on what they are, where they are. Okay. Some examples: E. coli. That's E. coli up here at the top. Escherichia coli, found in your intestines. All right. Streptococcus, that's this one right here, causes the strep infection. You get strep throat, it's caused by that bacteria, Streptococcus. Okay. Cyanobacteria is another example. One of the oldest bacteria. One of the oldest fossil we have. Cyanobacteria. So that's the first two domains. That's domain archaea, domain bacteria. What are these able to be seen all the time? Could Aristotle have seen these guys right here? No, didn't know they existed. Imagine the first person to actually use a primitive microscope and take some water out of the lake and put it on there and look and see all these little things swimming around. Probably freaked them out. They drink that water. Okay. That bottle of water sitting right there, I guarantee you got some stuff swimming around in it. It's natural. Okay. So now we're going to go to eukarya, which means what? All of these have eukaryotic cells, nucleus, organelles, 4 kingdoms: Protista, fungi, plantae, animalia. All right. All of these are similar, but all are very different. Okay. Protista, most diverse. You can add this on there anywhere. I don't know why it's not. It should be on the back, but it's not. Flip over the back and you could add these summarized. Most diverse of the kingdoms is Protista. Protista is the I don't fit anywhere else, so I get put here. That's what that kingdom is. There's going to be so many different things you see in here. Some that are like plants, some that are like animals, some that are like fungus. But guess what? They don't fit with those groups, so they get thrown in here. Okay? It's a hodgepodge, a collection of all these different organisms that don't fit nowhere else. Okay? When you go down on your charts, you can put some of these things. Mostly unicellular, some are multicellular. That's why it keeps them out of the bacteria, but they can't be in the plant or they can't be in the animal because it has some unicellular, so it keeps them in their own I don't know what I am group. Right? All are eukaryotic. They're in the domain eukarya. Some are autotrophic, some are heterotrophic. That goes with the plant-like, or autotrophic. Animal and fungus-like are heterotrophic. Some have cell walls, but what's the difference here? What's it made of? Cellulose, made of sugar. Guess what? They're just like plants. Plants have a cell wall made of sugar, cellulose. But there's other characteristics that keep them from being plants. Okay. Can be motile using cilia, flagellum, or pseudopods. Cilia is like little hairs all the way around them. Those hairs all wave in the same direction at the same time, and it makes the organism move. Flagellum, you know what a flagellum is? It's a tail, a single tail. It helps it move. Pseudopod means false foot. They actually extend part of their body out, grab a hold, and then pull the rest of their body. All right? They don't actually have arms, legs, or anything with them. They make their body extend out, and then they drag the rest of themselves. That's how an amoeba moves. Examples: amoeba, paramecium, algae. All fit into this kingdom. Everybody seen algae before? In the lake or stream, pond somewhere? It looks like a what? Looks like a plant. But it's not a plant because it has characteristics that don't fit in the plant kingdom. All right, so we put it in this kingdom. Here's some examples. There's our amoeba. These things out here, these are pseudopods. This amoeba is just a blob. That's all it is. It's one single cell blob. But when it wants to move this direction, it shoots part of its body out, and that thing, end of it, it sticks to it like a little sucker. It sticks, and then it drags the rest of its body that direction. The rest of its cell. Okay? One single cell. This is a paramecium. I always say it looks like a shoe. All right? Bottom of a shoe. All these little things around the outside, these are cilia. They'll all wave in one direction. If it wants to go this way, they all wave the opposite direction. It makes it shoot through the water. All right? And a flagellum would be a long, just one single long tail off the back end of it. Kind of like a sperm cell. Okay? Protus makes sense? All right, fungi. Yes. Now, you could put these in another category, another kingdom, except for one single organism. All of these are multicellular except for yeast. All right? Since yeast fits all the other criteria, we had to make a new category, a new kingdom. All right? These are yeast cells right here. You might know what we use yeast for?
Bread.
Yeah, you use a fungus to make bread. If you knew where half of your food comes from and how it's made, you wouldn't eat it. All right? Yeast, when you put yeast into the dough to make bread, when you give it heat, yeast, when it gets heat, produces carbon dioxide, which makes that bread rise. If you ever looked at a slice of bread, what's all throughout that slice of bread? Little holes. They're not holes. If you could look into the entire whole loaf of bread before you slice it, they're little bubbles. They were carbon dioxide bubbles that the yeast made and caused that bread to rise. If you don't put yeast in the dough, what happens?
It doesn't rise.
It doesn't rise because that carbon dioxide in there makes it puff up. All right? That's what yeast does for bread. Once it runs its course, it dies. It's gone. Okay? But it did its job. It made that carbon dioxide, made the bread rise. Everybody should know what these guys are. They are mushrooms. There are thousands of different species of mushrooms. All right? This right here is a fungus. It's the penicillium fungus. You may have heard that similar word before? Yeah, that's what penicillin's made from. Penicillin is an antibiotic that's made from a fungus. All right. All are eukaryotic. All are heterotrophic, which means they have to rely on something else for energy, for food. They have cell walls, but now we have a different thing in their cell wall. It's called chitin. All right. They are non-modal. What's that mean again? They can't move. Okay. That mushroom is not going to get up and move. The day it does is the day I go live in my bunker. Because it's not going to be a good day. Right. Most are decomposers, feed on dead or decaying matter. Where are you going to find these mushrooms? You're going to find them where something died. All right. You see mushrooms growing in the forest, something died there. It could either be an animal died, decomposed, the mushrooms use that for their energy source. It could be a pile of leaves. Because were they once alive? Yeah, that's dying, that's dead, decaying organic matter. And the mushrooms grow and they use that for their energy. Okay? And of course, we just talked about the three. There's your three examples. Mushrooms, yeast, penicillium. How many of you like mushrooms? You like something that feeds on dead stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not decaying dead stuff.
They're just funky.
Like I said, if you knew where half your food comes from, you wouldn't eat it. Any questions about fungi? All right, now on to something we know what.
Why is penicillium italicized?
It's capitalized. It's italicized. What do you think that is? From yesterday.
The scientific. What's it called?
It's the genus name. It's the scientific first part of the scientific name. It's capitalized. It's italicized. When you write it down, what should you do? Yeah, capitalize it, underline it, because it is a genus name.
Wait, what's the full name?
No, there's a special, because there's more than one type of penicillium, more than one species. All right, something we know more about. Plantae. Plants, multicellular, complex organism. All right, notice how we're getting more and more complex as we go up. Eukaryotic, should know that already. Autotrophic, should know that already, because they do what? They do that photosynthesis stuff. All right. Cell wall, made of cellulose. Cellulose is a what? It is a sugar. It ends in OSE. That's a sugar. Okay. Non-modal. Once again, when that tree gets up and starts walking on its roots, I'll see y'all later. Okay. There are millions of examples you could put for this. Any type of tree, any type of grass, any type of flower, moss. Moss is a plant. Any type of ferns. There are literally millions of examples you could write there. Okay. Now going back to that non-modal thing with plants. Do plants move?
In the wind, yes.
No, they do
They
move.
like them.
Sunflowers move too.
Explain it
The
then.
birds,
Now,
they pick at the seeds.
There's a key word here, a key thought here. When we talk about modal, we're talking about moving from one location to another. Now, do plants move? They respond to a stimulus,
Sunlight.
the sun. And these sunflowers, if you've ever seen a full field of sunflowers, it's actually pretty cool. I've got a video if I can find it. They will turn. The sun comes up, they all turn to face the sun. As it goes over the top, those flowers turn to face up. As it goes down the other side, they turn to face the other way. It looks like a bunch of little satellite dishes. They all turn at the same time to face the sun. Are they moving though? No.
Other plants do that where they
It's a
move
response
towards
to a stimulus. All right? They are not physically getting up and moving to the sun. Okay? Venus flytrap, talked about that yesterday. It doesn't move. It doesn't get up and move. It responds to a stimulus. When it's touched, that's the stimulus. Its response is to close. All right? All plants close at night. All flowers close up at night. We'll talk about that when we get to the plant unit. They all close at night. Is that moving? No, they're just responding to a stimulus. There's no sunlight, so they close. Okay. Question about plants? All right, and the big kingdom. Animalia. All are multicellular, all are eukaryotic, all are heterotrophs. Do they have cell walls?
No.
No cell wall. So it's the only kingdom that doesn't have a cell wall. All right. Big characteristics, they're modal. They can move from one location to the next. Sometimes when you don't want them to. Mhm. We got a bunch of examples. Like with plants, there's millions of examples. Insects, mammal, bird, reptile, amphibian, fish. A lot of different types of animals. All right. Anybody know what this is? Anybody know what type of spider? It is a species of tarantula. All right. They move. They move well. They jump. They can jump up to 12 feet.
Jumping
They're kind
spider.
of cute though. Spiders are so
Tarantula can be on one wall of this room and can jump all the way to the other wall.
Let me guess.
What? No,
Australia.
Oh, we have them here.
We have them here.
We have them here. Yeah.
I my best.
I mowed over 2 of them last summer. They were bouncing around the yard. I chased them with the lawnmower. Mowed them suckers over.
Imagine going outside and seeing all the spider bouncing on the ground.
Part of it.
What if you're trying to round it out?
Makes sense. And I'm gone. I'm going to jump off and that mower can keep on going. Any questions about the kingdoms? Anything you missed on the chart?
For the domain, for like the last 4, what do we put on top?
Look at the top of the screen.
Eukarya. You have to put eukarya.
Is it eukarya? Yeah. Okay.
Got the chart done? All right. Go back to your packet now. We're going to move to the next topic. Your note packet. You're going to look at something called dichotomous keys, and you're going to actually do this tomorrow. All right. Have you ever read a book and you get to the end of the first chapter? It's one of those type of books that says, if you believe this, go to chapter 2. If you believe this, go to chapter 4.
I read the Bible.
All right. Those books are based on the concepts from dichotomous keys. All right. It's how we identify organisms. We find a new organism. We go through all the questions. Does it have this? Yes, then go here. Does it have this? Then it fits with this. Does it have this? Then it fits with this. And you keep going until you reach the end. That's how those books are written too. All right. You can read that book 3 different times and get 3 different endings. Okay. Those books are based on dichotomous keys, the theories of how this works. All right. Characteristics are always given in pairs. You have a choice. It's a yes, no, or a number like 2 or 4. Different things, characteristics of organisms that would possibly fit with that organism. All right. You always begin with number 1, and you work your way through all the characteristics until you get to your answer. Okay. So, if we look at this ugly insect creature up here, and we look at number 1, it says, does the insect have wings? Yes or no? Yes. So what does it say for yes? You go to number 2. How many pairs of wings does the insect have?
And it's
2.
It has 2. It has 2 different size wings. This is just one side of it. It has 2 pairs of wings. So what's 2 say? Go to 3. Does the insect have very short antennae?
Yes.
Yeah, they're right up there. Very little bitty antennas. All right. So what's it say? Go to 4. Are there 2 or 3 long, slender, tail-like appendages at the tip of the abdomen?
Yes.
There's the abdomen. It has 1, 2, 3. So that's a yes. This is the order that belongs in. All right. Now, once a scientist gets to that point, they know, okay, this belongs in this order. Order is pretty, it's right in the middle. When we look at all of our taxon, they would take that then and go to the order, and then they start placing it again. And then once they figure out the family, then they go and they figure out the genus. And then they have, does this fit with any other organism? Not, it's a whole new species. Okay? Does that make sense? It's a process that goes every 4 or 5 or 6 times to classify one organism. Okay? So here's another example. Anybody remember what these guys are?
Finches.
Yeah, Darwin's finches. All right. So question 1. Is the beak relative? We're going to look at bird W first. This one right here. Is it long and slender beak or short, stout, heavy?
Long and slender.
It's long and slender. Okay. So it fits into this genus. All right. Bird X. Long and slender or stout and heavy?
Stout and heavy.
Stout and heavy. So we go to number 2. Bottom surface of the lower beak is flat and straight, or is it curved?
Go to heavy.
Right here it's curved down here, so we go to number 3. Is the lower edge of the upper beak, does it have a bend or is it flat?
Bend.
Here's the upper beak. Is the lower, the bottom of the upper beak flat or bent? It is flat. All right, so it is this one down here at the bottom. Okay. Go through and do Y on your own. Don't yell out an answer. Bird Y. How many of you got Geospiza? How many of you got Camabeba? This one right here. Geospiza or this one? It is Geospiza.
Let's go, Blake.
Alright. Long, slender beak. It's not short, stumpy. It's long and slender. Oh, see, y'all all were wrong. Now, does this bird look like this bird? No. Are they in the same genus? Yes. What's that mean they are? They have a different what? What's the last one after genus?
Species.
They are 2 different species of bird, but they fit in the same genus. They both have long, slender beaks. All right. One is much longer and much bigger than the other. That would be another question. You go to a different key. What about Z? What about Z? Who's got it? It's the camel one at the bottom. C-A-M-A-R-H. It is that one. Makes sense how we use these.
Yes.
You're going to do some of these tomorrow to get used to working with them. All right. So the taxonomy.